Gardeners come up with all kinds of different ideas. You have raised bed gardening, you have container gardening, you have self-wicking containers, you have all different kinds of gardening. But gardeners aren't satisfied with what they have. They always got to try something else. We're going to make a container garden, but it's going to be in the ground. Now, I'd already dug my pit for my container to go in, but I know that you wanted to see me dig it, so here's a little slow-mo reenactment. Just for you. I'm going to drill some holes approximately 6 to 8 inches from the bottom. That way when I put my logs and limbs and stuff in the bottom of this container, it will retain the water a whole lot better. I'm going to go ahead and cut my pipe, and down here on the bottom I'm just going to cut like an angle. That way the water will be able to get through there when we need to fill it up. I like to get my leaves and my rotted wood from the woods itself. It's just you and nature and ticks and spiders and mosquitoes and snakes. Now I've raked some of these leaves from the edge of the wood. I just lined the bottom of my hole with it. That's what I'm going to set my container on. I put some logs, old rotted logs and limbs in the bottom of this container. You can see right here it's just mush is all it is. That thing gets soaked up with water. It'll hold that water, hold the minerals, hold everything that needs to be held. Top of these logs, I put a layer of leaves and sticks. We also lined along the outside with a layer of rotting leaves and sticks and whatever else. We're going to cover that up, and then we're going to cover some of this with some soil, some other things. I went ahead and put my pipe in so it'd be there and it'd be in place. If it needs watering, I'll have it right there. We took some dirt that I had dug out of this hole, just this garden dirt, and piled on top of it with a layer. Then we scooped some rabbit manure and put a layer on top of it. Here's a rabbit poop reenactment. It's time for some chop and drop. Paul's cutting some cannas. We're going to layer them on top of the rabbit manure. We just take these canna leaves. I'm going to tear them up a little bit. We'll put a few of them down here. Give the worms something to chew on. And it'll rot down. The beauty of this, in my mind anyway, we've got our holes that we drilled in the side of the container, about that high from the bottom, so the water will go down in there. It'll soak up into those logs and in those leaves. It'll wick up into this soil. That's the theory anyway. But on top of that, the worms that are in the garden, that we're hoping that they'll go in these little holes. It's big enough for them to go in. If they'll go in them little holes, they'll come in here and they'll aerate all this. They'll dig around. They'll contribute to the overall health of our little in-ground container garden. We're headed up the road to one of the neighbor's fields where he has cows. We're gonna dig up some cow poo. Them horns aren't that sharp. Just go through that gate right there and go in there and get us some cow poo. There's plenty of it on the ground. Run, Paul, run! I'll tell Mama we can rent your room out. I think we'll just use rabbit manure. I'll put a couple of bell pepper plants in here. I did actually get some cow manure, and I put it a little bit in here as well, and also put some soil that I'd mixed up, trying to loosen the soil up just a little bit. This says red bell pepper. We need some bell peppers. We're going to top it off with some of this compost that we're making. It's not completely broken down, but it'll make a good mulch, and it'll also help feed the soil. Last thing we need to do is water it all in. Pro tip, if you do one of these in-ground container gardens, make sure you get it close enough to the water hose. A lot of things that we come up with today, somebody else has already tried it or done it, But as gardeners, we like to experiment, don't we? What are you trying that we might look at and we'll say, hey, that sounds like a good idea. I may give that a try. Y'all get over and subscribe. God bless.